Hello and welcome to Python Programming Complete course. This is part 15, Linear Lists in Python. In this video, we will discuss different types of data structures, what are arrays or linear lists, how to implement an array in Python, and the basic tasks that can be performed on an array. Data structure is a way of organizing data, storing and managing it so that it can be used efficiently and effectively. It is the physical implementation of maintaining the data. When we talk about data structure, it can be classified as linear data structure or non-linear data structure. Linear data structures are those where we have a single level of data structure as the data is stored in the form of a sequence, whereas in non-linear data structures they are maintained in a multi-level fashion like trees or graphs. Whereas if we talk about linear data structures, we have arrays, stack, queue and linked lists. Now arrays, they are built from the primitive data types like character, float or integers, whereas the other data structures like stack, queue, list, trees or graphs or maps, they are built by combining the primitive data types into a more complex data structures. Now moving on to array. Array is a collection of items or elements that are stored in continuous or contiguous memory locations. These elements, when we talk about the elements of the items of the array, they are of similar types, and the items in an array are the fixed. Like if we say when they are fixed, the number of items that an array can hold is fixed, unlike list where we can add in more data anytime. And in list also, if we talk about the difference between an array and a list, in a list we can have a number of items that can be added or deleted anytime, and the items or the data in the list, they can be of different types, whereas arrays, the elements are of the same type. Now an array can be a single dimensional array or a two-dimensional array or a multi-dimensional array. Why to use an array? Array reduce the overall size of the code and we can store multiple values in a single variable. For example, if I have to store five data, I'll need 5 variables. But using an array, I can have one variable, and that simple single variable will store 5 items or 5 values for me. Now each item stored in array is called its element, and each element can be accessed using its index position. The index starts with 0, like our list. In array also we have the index starting from 0. The basic tasks or operations that can be performed on an array are insertion, deletion. We can insert an item, we can delete something from an array, we can search or sort the array, we can traverse, that is we can access each element of the array, we can update and merge as well. In Python, an array is implemented through list data type as linear list storing similar type of data. Now an array can also be implemented as Numpy arrays, which are a grid of values, or through importing the array module. Now in this video we will not discuss Numpy arrays, that will be covered in the upcoming videos. Here we will discuss how to implement an array as a list and through the array module. If we are implementing an array through list, then we have to initialize the array. We have to specify the number of items that the array will hold and the type of data which will be stored in my array. For example, if I have an variable as ARR and I say that it will be a list which is initialized with 0 and is having 3 values. So I have an array which will hold 3 values. I can also, since we are implementing it as a list, I can also have something like this, a list. I will create a list and we can have any values. This is an array where we have numbers as this. We can have an array where we can store float type of values, or we can have characters as values. All of them are valid as an array. We have to put a comma in between. So these are all the arrays which are holding different types of data. Now to add data to an array, if we are taking input from the user, we can use the input function to take the data from the user. We can loop through a for loop and accept the values, or we can simply assign it in this manner. Let's accept the values for our array from the user. I know my array is having a value 3, so I can use 3, and I can accept the values in my array as it should be of int type input values, and I'm accepting the value from the user. If we execute this program, you could see it is asking me for value. I'm entering the data. You could see the data is being accepted. Now we said that there are different tasks that can be performed on an array. Let's see how we can traverse through an array, like that is how we can access each values of an array and display it. To traverse through an array, either we can use a for loop or a while loop. We can also print the values of all of our array in this manner. If I want to see the data in my array, I can simply write array and it will accept the values and it's printing the data. We are simply printing the data. Now to traverse and to print each and every value, access and print each and every value, I can use a for loop for I in range. Same thing, but this time let's use the length function, and here we can pass array for accessing each and every value of our array, and let's print it. Let's print a semicolon tab array, and one at a time data will be picked up and it will be printed. Let's save and print the values. It is asking me for the values, and you can see now this time it is not printing the values in the form of an array like we did earlier. This time it is picking up each and every data from my array and printing it one at a time. Another thing which we can do with array, we can sort it either in ascending or descending order. In the previous videos, we have already discussed how we can perform selection sort, binary sort and insertion sort on list. We are not going to discuss it again because we are implementing our array through list. So the same methods which we have discussed earlier will be applicable here as well. Same goes with searching. We can also search for a data in our array either using linear search or binary search, which we have discussed earlier in the earlier videos. To insert an element in the array, if we have an array as ARR, the one which we have created in this program, and I want to insert an element in the existing list or the existing array. If my list is unsorted, then we can insert at the end of the list using append. Since we are implementing the array as a list, I can simply write arr.append and it will add the data at the end of the list. Or if my list is sorted, then we have to insert the data at the appropriate position. We'll use a function, or we can look for a place in my array. We can find a position where to insert the data. We can look, we can pick up each and every value, compare it with the next value, and find the position where to insert the data. Now this insertion can be done using the traditional method of allocating an extra space at the end of the array and shifting the entire content and then inserting. Since we are using a list to create an array, we can simply use insert method and insert the data, specifying the position and the value that we want to insert in my array. Python has one more method of inserting the element in the array. We can also use the bisect module. Now the bisect module, it has functions which finds the position where we have to insert the value, and then it has another function which inserts the value at the desired place. So for that, we simply have to import the bisect module. We have our array in place, we will accept the value, or we can have the values in our array. This is the data which we want to insert. So using the bisect method from this module, we are using this particular function to find the position where we want to insert the data, and then we will, using insert, we will insert the data, that is x, at the desired position in my array. Finally, we are printing the list. Now bisect, if you are using the bisect module, it works only with an array or a list which is sorted in ascending order. So it is asking me for values. I said it will work with an array which is in ascending order. So my data is sorted. We have entered this value 23, 56, 78 and 89, and I want to add 67. You could see 67 being inserted at the correct position. This time we will work with an array which is in descending order. So what we can do is we can reverse the array, use the bisect module to insert the data, and then reverse it back. Let us execute this program. So we have to enter the values. My list is reversed, data is being inserted, and it is giving me the correct answer. To delete and update an element from the array or from a list, we can use the searching algorithm. We can look for an item that we want to delete or update, and using the list methods. For deletion, we can use the del for or remove. If we know the index or we know the values, we can use them once the data has been looked up by the searching algorithm, and we can simply use del or remove to remove the data. Similarly, with updating also, we can look for a value which we want to update, and once its position is known, we can update it. Let us discuss the array module in Python. To create an array using the array module, we first have to import it. So we will write import array. This will import an array. We want to import it as array as an alias. We want to give a name, or we can also write from array import asterisk. That is, we are importing all the functions from the array module. If we are giving it a name, then later on when we are using its methods, we will write arr dot array or arr dot whatever method we are using. And if we are calling the array module in this fashion from array import asterisk, we will simply use its methods and the function. So I'm using the second method from array import asterisk. We are importing all the functions. Now to create an array, we have to specify, once we are using its functions from the array module, we have to specify the data type, that what data will be stored in my array, and the value list. Now how to do that? We are creating a variable using the array function. We are specifying something like this: I, comma 2, 5, 7, 9. Now this is my function from the array module, and this it specifies what data type we are going to store in my array, what type of data we are going to store in that array. I specifies that integer type of data will be stored with a size of 2. We have other data type as well, like F for float, D for double, C for character. We have different characters being assigned for unsigned integer and signed integer, and for boolean as well. So that entire list I'll be sharing. The second argument is the values which we are storing in the array. So my array has been created. We have specified that this is the data type and this is the data that will be stored in the array. If we want to print the values, I can write for x in a, for x in a, print, what are we trying to print? Print each and every value. Let's execute. You could see 2, 5, 7 and 9 being printed. If you want to see the values, that what type of values are being stored, what is the data type of this array which is created from the array module, that can also be done. If I write print type A and see what happens, you could see it is a class type array from the array module. It's the array which we are trying to create. If I print something like this, if I write print A, let's see the output. You could see it's an array of this integer type, and it is these are the data which are being stored in this array. Now to access each and every element of the array, we can use the index position as well. If I write something like print A, the second element, and execute it, you could see the second element from my array is 7. After printing all the data, it is printing the 7 as the value from my for this particular statement. It is giving me this answer. Similarly, we can access the elements from the right side also using negative values for the index. If I write print -1, the value at this particular position, then you could see and I write A -1 Let's execute and see the answer. The value at this particular position at -1 is 9. That is the last element in our array. To insert an element in the array which we have created using the array module, we can simply use the insert method. Like for example, we can write a dot insert. This is the array which we have created. We can use the insert method, and we have to specify at which position we want to insert. That is, we are trying to insert at the third index position, and 30 is the value which we are trying to. We simply have to pass the index position and the value which we want to insert in this array, and it will be inserted. You could see the new data 30 is being inserted in my array at the third position. That is 0, 1, 2, and this is the third position. In between we have added a value. We can also use append to add a value at the end, or we can use extend a method also to add an entire array to my existing array. For example, if I write instead of insert, if I write append, so it will add this value to the end of my array, you could see. Or I can add an entire array to my existing array. To delete a value from the array, we can use the remove method, and we can use the pop also to remove an item from the end of the array. Or if we know the index position, we can give the index position together with pop method. That will also work. For example, we have this array and I say remove, say 7. I want to remove 7, so it will remove 7 from my first append. Using the append method we have added 56, and using remove we have removed 7. Similarly, we can also use pop, a dot pop. If I write something like this and execute it, you could see the result. It has somewhere appended this value 56, and later on it has removed the value from my array. To search for a value in the array, we can use the index method. Simply we can write, say for example, we are looking for a value, so I can write index, print the from this particular array, print the index, or tell me where is this particular value stored in my array. Say if I ask 5 and I save it, and now it will be clear. If we execute it again, found at this particular index position, that is 1, 0 and 0, and this is the first position, and this is the data which we are getting from the print statement inside this for loop. Similarly, using since this is an array, we can simply update the values in my existing array using the index position and assigning a new value to it. In this video, we have discussed what is an array, how we can implement an array in Python using the array module, and using the list data type and implementing it as an array. And we have also seen what are the different tasks that we can perform on an array. You can look for the searching and sorting, how to search and sort in a list using the earlier videos. In the next video, we will discuss stack and queue in Python. Hope you found the information shared in this video useful. Stay tuned for upcoming videos, and thank you for watching.